Thank you everybody for coming. Appreciate it. This is, I think, just a week and a half in the making. And much love and thank you to Yosef Fenster for putting me in touch with David. This is the Shadpur house, and they immediately were like, yes, it has to be here. We'll take care of everything. So much love to the family.
Thank you.
So I'm just going to speak personally, just from my own sort of how much light Rabbeinu, rebbenachman brought and rebbenachman brought into my life. I was playing a show in Yalta in the Black Sea in 2008, and I was staying in Kiev for Shabbat. And I think I had heard of Uman, so I decided I'd go to Uman Motzei Shabbat. I jumped into a cab, went for a few hours. This was a month after Rosh Hashanah. There was nobody there except for one groundskeeper and a dog. And I prayed and said Tehillim, Tikkun Klali. And on the way back, probably 4 a.m. at that point, I was listening to Erez Tikkun Klali, and I felt on fire for Hashem. And I just felt it in my heart and in my soul. 10 years later, here I was going to the Ben Yehuda's. It's an amazing family here. They do Sudash Shishi. And on Shabbat, David Ben Yehuda, he would be learning Sipurei Masiyot, Likutey Halachot, and Likutey Maran. And that was when my mind sort of caught up to my soul. And it was as if my eyes had like a clear lens that wasn't there before. And I was able to see the whole Torah in this other way, in this personal way. And the stories leaving Mitzrayim, leaving Meitzar, constriction, the constricted consciousness, going to the redemptive state, realizing that this is something that we have to do at all times. And with Sinat Chinam, with the destruction of Beit HaMikdash, and one of the things that, this thing that we're always trying to overcome, one of the foundational teachings of breslov is the Zamra, and it's Resh Pei Bet, but Rebbenachman realized it's so important in our generation that he put it as the first halacha in Likutey Halachot. And it's really seeing the good in everybody, but also in yourself. And in this generation, this constricted consciousness, the anxiety, the fears, judging other people, it's something that's so prevalent. And that's why this Rabbeinu's Torah, and also with what Rebbenachman brings in, it's a light, it's a fresh breath of fresh air, as Rav Kramer told me when we were talking about one of the halachot. How it affected me is really just bringing compassion to any situation and judging favorably, as Rebbenachman is talking about, when it's the new moon and you're sanctifying the new moon. It's not when it's at its biggest state, its most impressive state. It's actually when it's at its most infinitesimal, when it's at its smallest state. This is the nekudat tova. This is the potential that every single person has. And when we judge, sometimes we see another person, it could be anything. It could be just a look they're making, or how they're looking at something, or maybe something bothered you. So it's maybe one little thing, but all of a sudden you're looking at them as if so much, maybe even 99% is bad. But the idea is that when you look at the 1% good and you focus on that, you could flip it to 99% good, and then eventually 100% good. Rabbeinu said that were it not for Rebbenachman, none of his writings would survive. And thinking of Rabbeinu's story, the exchanged children, at the end, the true king's son, to show that he's the redeemer, he has to put everything back in its space. And Rabbeinu, he's reminding us that it's just one little move, one thing setting it straight, one mitzvah continuously that could bring us to that state. On the last days of Pesach, I was in Santa Barbara on the top on this ranch. It was beautiful. It was overlooking Santa Barbara. And this one thought came to me, sort of meditating on this story and just this concept. And it's to reveal the redemption is one faithful step away from the missteps and misfortunes that conceal the ultimate truth. So it just means if the world's recreated at every moment, and we just have to take that one step, and in that moment, we could bring the redemption. Rebbenachman passed on the 10th of Tevet, and he had two are the first stories of Rabbeinu being read to him. The second story ends, "Let us go home." And hearing these words, rebbenachman nodded his head as if to say, "Yes, it's time for me to go home." And he passed away later that day in his home in Breslov just before Shabbat. I wrote a poem last week for this. I'm going to read it real quick. A moon to the sun that brought light in time of its absence. A zamra, the melody of alchemy. The good point in all of we. Divinity in every being. It was me that I was seeing. A part of me is a part of God. A spark of light in the seeming dark. Halacha, halacha. The way that I talk, the grace in this walk. Rebbenachman, fueled by faith, shown by bitachon. It's the elevation that we're on. Emanations of light in Likutey Halachot. So this is the event to, God willing, fundraise for Likutey Halachot. And this is the first volume. I had the zchut of being able to contribute to it, so it has my mom's name, Frida Livona Bat Shalom Yedida. She passed 2 years ago, and all of this Likutey Maran, all the stories, all the teachings of Rabbeinu and rebbenachman's work has changed my life. I wrote this 5-book series called Light of the Infinite, and it's all bringing Torah of Rabbeinu, also the alterrebbe, the rebbe, but really it's this breslov fire and the light that it brings that is in this book and has given me new life and just really changed my whole perspective, and I think it could for everybody else. So I think Rabbi Yosef Cohen's going to talk more about it, but there's like monthly ways you could donate or one time, and this is just life-changing. It's incredible. I'll let him speak about it more, but this is something that needs to come out into the world, and so much work goes into just this one volume. There's going to be another 60 volumes, so we really need to raise the money for this. Thank you so much.
Erez, thank you all for coming. I'm just gonna say something a little bit about Rebbenachman. We have the rabbis here, Bezrat Hashem, to explain us everything about it. Rebbenachman, Erez was talking about that before he passed away. He was having like a tzavah, like a will, before he passed away, that he asked his son, Rabbi Yitzchak, he called him, whoever see the Alim Letrufa, all the letters he wrote Rabbi Yitzchak, he was talking to him a lot about the Afatza, and mainly, before he passed away, he said, I want you to sit and do the fundraising for to make Afatza and to spread the light of the books of rebbenachman around the world more and more. So that's the will we got from Rebbenachman. And also there is another story that I saw, that one time, it was a few times that Rebbenachman went to jail because of what he did, and people was snitch on him. Unfortunately, it was the misnagdim and he went to jail a few times. So when he was handcuffed and going to jail, his student came up to him and says, Rabbi, what can we do for you? What should we do now? He says, just be busy with the afatza, more, print more books, and spread the light around. So basically we have here Chaim Kremer from BRI. The light that I see, I grew up in Israel, but I'm here for the past 10 years, and the light that the books of Rebbenachman makes, and the difference that it makes in people's life, it's unbelievable. Like every time I buy more books, I have them in my house, and I keep on giving them to people. So I buy boxes of the books, and I just keep on giving, and I see the changes of people, the change of life that they have in their life. And we're talking about Likutey Maran. So Likutey Maran, if you can understand, there is a saying in breslov that whatever the Zohar finish, Likutey Maran start. Which means the old teaching of Arizal, like the Rabbi Tauber told us, the teaching of Rav Shimon Bar Yochai, the teaching of the Zohar and Arizal, they're all getting revealed and explained in Likutey Moharan, and Likutey Halachot is even more and more and more easy to understand, and it's unbelievable. So I was going to Israel. I went to Israel a few weeks ago for Lag BaOmer with a few friends from here, and I said I'm going to pay a visit to a friend of mine that live in Bat Ain. Actually, he was here in LA. He used to be in Chavruta. He was not connected to breslov. He was making teshuva through Hasidut that actually against breslov, but we were Chavruta. And then I sneak into some rebbenachman, and he liked it. And Baruch Hashem, he went to Uman and he became breslov. And he was one of the people that worked on this Likutey Halachot. I went to his house in over there in Batayin. It's beautiful. It's mamash. We're talking about Gan Eden. He sit there and he see and translate the book, and he has all this poem around him. And this is what he does with another group that he had. So basically, the Likutey Halachot is going to be about 60 books, 60 volumes, and it's going to be once a year, one book a year, one value a year. And if we're going to wait for it, it's going to take 60 years. So probably our grandkids are going to enjoy from it. So what we are trying to do is that we're going to have a group. So this is a group of 8 avrechim that's sitting in Kohen actually, and that's how they translate the book. And this is actually, that's how they did. If people familiar with the Schutenstein, Gemara, the Talmud that they have, the English, the Hebrew, Metirta, from Ozvadar, all these books, they have kolelim, and they have avrechim, rabbis that sit and translate the book. So this is their journey. This is what they do the whole day, like 6-8 hours a day. They're sitting on the book and they work on it. So basically, what we're trying to do here is we try to make at least 5 books a year. Then it's going to be about 10-15 years that we can enjoy from it. But this thing is cost, and this is like 8 avrechim. Just for example, it's $25,000 a month to have like one group of avrechim. That is like almost like every other thing. Like they have like Ozvadar and stuff, but we're not that strong as them. So we need anyone that can help, and even a little bit. So you can see. We have the paper over here, and that table you can scan over here. You can scan it and can see how much you can help monthly, yearly, whatever you can do. It's mamish. This is it's mamish atzalat nefashot. It's like saving people's lives. This is the book of rebbenachman, and Bezrat Hashem, whoever can help, Bezrat Hashem, going to get the one book to see and understand what is stepping in and what is trying to do. So Bezrat Hashem help us to just spread the light and continue the rebbenachman and rebbenachman will to spread the light and mekarev more people. And we first need to mekarev us through the learning and mekarev more people. Shkoyach.